So I think, a lot of the operators were kind of working in a bubble and maybe chasing different business models or making up as they went based upon, their fundraising scheme, who they were talking to, of their investors, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd just like to kind of point out that letter D here really kind of drove that first wave of micromobility. Certainly, even on the ride hail side, if we want to include that too, which precedes micromobility by 4 or 5 years. We go all the way back to like 2012, but let's just say for the sake of argument, 2017 or so is really the dawn of the micromobility as we know the last 8 or 9 years or so. Probably not 2016, but 2017. That's when it really started exploding in the United States, and then here in Europe by 2018, about a year and a half before the pandemic.
So in the 2018 to 2022 ban, capital was cheap. Like Scott just mentioned, cities were unregulated and speed was the only metric that mattered. Now, the second ban, which is 23 to 25, that's where the correction phase happened. And one of the biggest mergers happened, which was the Tier and Dot merger. And once the merger happened, a lot of players exited the unprofitable markets. After that, they started focusing on profitability. So we can say right from 25, 24, 26, there was a slight focus towards profitability. But one major thing which happened in 2026 was, the Lime IPO. The question everyone used to ask in 2018 was majorly, okay, can we scale this business? But the question everyone is asking in 2026 is whether we can make this business profitable. So that's how the mindset of the operators have also changed, and the way they are entering and spanning across shared micromobility, that has also completely changed.
No, I don't really think Lime did a lot much different than Bird, actually, to be very honest with you. I think that their offers, their go-to market was very similar, especially pre-pandemic. I mean, they were almost copy-paste. They were doing the same thing as each other. And even till recently, there wasn't a lot of differentiation between the two in terms of their products, in terms of their strategy, et cetera. So it's really difficult to answer that question. But the proofs is that, Lime just issues the IPO on July 1st, right? So just almost a month ago, more than a month ago.
Yeah.
Whereas Bird is not at that stage yet, and it's still in a recovery stage.
When we switched this slide, you sort of mentioned how the hardware initially was something that was maybe running for a month or two, because the initial hardware that was used for sharing was literally retail scooters that were being bought at large quantities, being dumped on the streets, and was hoping to get used. Whereas now we're looking at the hardware, which has one solid frame, suspension, all the extras for comfortable riding experience that the user wants to have. There's definitely been, I think, a lot of great development from hardware and the software perspective to, at the end of the day, have the user a great hardware which they want to use, that doesn't run out of battery, that will not break down, and at the end of the day also have it ready whenever they want it.
Brussels did a very blended approach, and they found through trial and error the right regulatory mix for tendering a multi-year contract back in 2023 to basically strike that balance of utilization, distribution across their more than a dozen, neighborhoods and municipalities in the Brussels region, et cetera. So I think we need to look to Brussels as a model and example of what can be done right for regulation, actually.
So that's why I think that, for example, what City of Eindhoven have done, having this one company as a contractor and setting the requirements for this one company is much easier work for them, right? From the city perspective, this is what we want. We want X amount of vehicles on the streets. We want X amount of utilization, KPIs, availability. These are the parking spots. This is what you need to provide to us. And then if there's just one main let's say, point of contact that they have that has won this contract and is taking care of micromobility in the city, it's much easier for them. It saves a lot of time.
There's a huge bike usage right now, e-bike usage here in Lisbon, a city that has a lot more topographical challenges than a Vilnius or a Riga or a Tallinn. It's the city of 7 hills. Of course, people aren't pedaling, they're using e-bikes, but I see it all over the place. And just in the last 12 to 14 months, it's crazy. So we're going completely against decades, if not a century of lack of cycling culture in Portugal and Spain. And the change is happening fast, especially amongst Gen Z and millennials. We got to talk about generational divide.